Question 1. Here are 7 numbers. Work out the range of the 7 numbers. Circle your answer. The range of some numbers, we need to look for the highest number, that's 13, and look for the lowest number, that's 4. So the range is the highest, take away the smallest, which gives us 9. What is the mode of the 7 numbers? Circle your answer. The mode is the number that appears most often. In this case, 6 appears twice, no other number appears twice, so the mode is 6. Question 2. Which shape has 2 lines of symmetry and its diagonals intersecting at 90 degrees? Circle the correct letter. So, for example, A has 1 line of symmetry here and no other line of symmetry, so that's just 1 line of symmetry, so no. If we look at lines of symmetry here, we have potentially a line of symmetry along here, but if we look at it really, it won't actually have a line of symmetry. This has 2 lines of symmetry, and this has 2 lines of symmetry. These two are okay for symmetry. Next, diagonals intersecting at 90 degrees. This one does if we join up the 2 opposite points and here as well, they'll intersect at 90. Here it can't be clear, I don't think it does. Here it does, and here they will not. We'll have an obtuse angle here and an acute angle here. So our answer is C. Question 3. Which of these is a cube number? Circle your answer. A cube number is a number where we've taken a number such as 2 and cubed it, so 2 times 2 times 2 would be 4 times 2, which equals 8. So we need to find a number where we've taken a number and cubed it to get the answer. 3 is definitely not 1, 9 is not 1, 100 is a square number just like 9. Just like 9. So our answer is 27. It's 3 cubed. Question 4. Liz buys a car for £7,500. She pays a deposit of £1,875, and she pays the rest in 36 equal monthly payments. Work out the amount of each payment. First, let's figure out how much she's got left to pay. So we take our £7,500 and take away £1,875, which leaves us with £5,625 left to pay. Now we need to divide that up into 36 equal payments. So we take 5,625 and divide that by 36. Get £156.25 per month. Question 5. 120 men and 80 women were asked if they drive to work. Altogether, a quarter of the people said yes. A third of the men said yes. What fraction of the women said yes? So, altogether, a quarter of the people said yes. That means the number of total people that said yes is a quarter of the total, which is 120 plus 80. That's a quarter of 200. So 50 people said yes. A third of the men said yes, so we can find a third of 120. So we know 40 men said yes. That leaves us with 10 women that said yes. And we need to find that as a fraction of the total amount of women. That's 10 over the total, which is 80. And we can simplify that down to 1 over 8. Question 6. Boxes A, B, C, and D contain balls with numbers on them, and a ball is picked at random from each box. Which box gives the greatest chance of picking a 3? So let's do this for each of the boxes A, B, C, and D. We want to calculate the probability of drawing a ball with the number 3 on it from the box A. One ball with a 3 on it, that's going to be 1 out of the total number of balls, which is 6. Let's do this for all the other ones. So, probability of 3 for box B is 1 over 3. Probability of drawing a 3 in box C is 2 of them over 5. And probability of 3 for box D is 2 over 4, or 1/2. The largest fraction here is a half. All of these are lower than a half, so the box is D. For 6b, which two boxes give the same chance of picking a 1? So let's do the same thing, but for all the boxes in turn. So for a 1 in box A, we have probability of 1 is 2 over 6, which is a third. In B, probability of 1 is 1 ball over the total 3. And these two match, so it's A and B. Question 7. Zane records his weekly sales. Every week his costs are £87.50. Work out his profit in week 1. To calculate profit, we need to take his sales, which in week 1 are £240, and subtract the costs, £87.50, which gives us a profit of £152.50. For 7b, his sales in week 4 were half of his sales in week 1. Zane says this means that my profit in week 4 was half of my profit in week 1. Is he correct? So let's calculate the profit for week 4. It looks like his sales were 120. So we can take off £87.50, which gives £32.50 profit. And his statement was that his profit in week 4 was half of his profit in week 1. So half of the profit in week 1, half of £152.50, which is £76.25. His claim is that these two are equal. They're not equal, so he's incorrect. Question 8. Work out the value of 5x plus 9y when x is 7 and y is negative 2. Let's substitute in, so 5 times 7 plus 9 times negative 2. 5 times 7 is 35, and 9 times negative 2 is negative 18. So 35, take 18, 17. Question 9. The points minus 1, 0 and 1, 4 are the diagonally opposite corners of a square. Work out the coordinates of the other two corners of the square. Diagonally opposite corners of a square must meet at 90 degrees. We'll have a line somewhere here, and both these two lines will meet at 90 degrees. This point will be the point where they meet, halfway along both these lines. So what we can do to find the other corners is we can consider this under a 90-degree rotation, which should rotate to here, to this point, and this one should rotate up here. We could join these two together and we'd see that we'd have a 90-degree angle at which these meet. So our 2 points here are 2, 1 and minus 2, 3. Question 10. In an experiment, different masses are hung on a spring. The length of the spring is measured for each mass. Draw a graph to show the length of the spring for masses from 10 grams to 40 grams. We need to plot these on our graph, so 10 grams is going to be plotted up here at 20.8. 20 grams is going to be plotted up at 21.6. Should be there. 30 grams is at 22.4. And 40 grams at 23.2. Now that we've got these, we should join them up with a straight line, and that's our plotted graph. For question 10b, we need to estimate the length of the spring with no mass hung on it. So we go to here at 0 and read up, and that's 20 centimeters. For question 10c, how much longer is the spring with a 35 gram mass than with a 15 gram mass? To do this, we need to find the length of the spring for each of these two masses. For example, for the 15 gram mass, we'll read up to here, and across to here, and read off here. So now I've put my construction lines in to help, we can read these off. The 35 gram mass has a length of 22.8, and the 15 gram mass has a length of 21.2. We take those away from each other, it's 1.6 centimeters longer than the other one. Question 11. A sequence of patterns uses grey squares and white squares. Here are the first 4 patterns. Work out the total number of squares in pattern 100. So for this pattern we have 6 squares, then 9 squares, then 12 squares, and then 15 squares. Let's find out the nth term of this pattern. So from 6 to 9, we're adding 3. Same from 9 to 12. And the same from 12 to 15. So we know that our nth term is going to include 3n. Let's compare it to this sequence. If n is 1, then 3n is 3, then 6, then 9, then 12. We need to see what we need to add from this to get to this sequence. And in every case, we need to add 3. So the nth term of this sequence is 3n plus 3. Now that we have it, we can use it to work out the total number of squares in pattern 100. That's 3 times 100 plus 3, which is 303 squares. For question 11b, complete the number machine for the sequence of patterns. The number of grey squares multiplied by something, add something, is the number of white squares. We can see in each pattern we have a grey square here and white squares on either side of it. In this case, we've got double the number of white squares on either side of the grey squares. There's 3, and then there's 6 white squares. 4 grey squares, and there's 8 white squares. So the first thing we're doing is doubling the number of grey squares. Then we have these 3 squares at the top that are always white, so we need to add on 3 white squares. Question 12. In Scotland, squirrels are red or grey in the ratio red to grey is 1 to 2.5. What fraction of the squirrels in Scotland are red? First, let's write down our ratio. And I'm going to multiply both sides of the ratio by 2 so that we have whole number parts in our ratio. Our convention is to have whole numbers on either side. To calculate the fraction of the squirrels in Scotland, we need to know our total. So the total of this ratio is 7. And if we want the fraction that are red, we take the share for red, 2, and divide by the total. It's 2 over 7. In Scotland, there are 120,000 red squirrels. How many squirrels are there altogether in Scotland? Take our ratio again, red to green, and the total. That's 2 to 5. And we're told there are 120,000 red squirrels. And we need to know the total. So from here to here, we've multiplied by 60,000. So we need to do the same to the total. If we wanted the number of grey squirrels, we could do the same to that as well. So multiplied by 60,000, which gives us a total of 420,000. Question 13. Haley and Tom have £2,000 to spend on food at their wedding. They have 2 options, Wonderful Weddings and Kim the Caterer. Work out the maximum number of people that they can pay for. Show working to compare the maximum number of people for both options. So for Wonderful Weddings, we take the price per person, £32, and we get a reduction of 10%. So I'm going to put to multiply by the multiplier 0.9. That gives us a price per person of £28.80. Next, we have the price per person, and we know how much money we've got to spend. So £2,000 divided by the price per person will give us the number of people that we can cater for, which is 69.44. I'll call that 69 people. Next, let's do the same for Kim the Caterer. If we're selecting this option, we're definitely not going to be able to cater for more people than 69, so it's not worth considering up to 59. And if we select this option here, 80 to 99, and take £2,000 and divide by it, we find that we actually only get 75 people. So this one's not actually acceptable. So let's do the calculation for this one here, 60 to 79 at £28.50. So £2,000 divided by £28.50, which is 70.17, or 70 people. So the maximum number that can be catered for is 70 people, and Kim the Caterer is the better option. Question 14. Solve 4 multiplied by x plus 5 equals 15. The first step in this case, we notice we can divide the whole equation by 4. That would leave us with x plus 5 on this side and a constant on this side. So let's divide by 4. That leaves x plus 5 because This means multiplied by 4, so dividing by 4 will remove it. It's 15 over 4. The next step, we can take away 5, so we'll be left with x on the left-hand side, and 15 over 4 minus 5 on the right-hand side. If we calculate that, that leaves us with minus 5 over 4 equals x. Question 15. The mass of 40 centimeter cubed of copper is 356 grams. We need to work out the mass of 90 centimeters cubed. Let's see how much this has increased by. 90 over 40 is 2.25, so it's increased by 2.25 times. Let's do the same to the number of grams. 356 grams increased by 2.25 times, which is 801 grams. Question 18. 24 boys, 45 girls, and 281 adults are the members of a badminton club. 50 more children join the club. The number of girls is now 18% of the total number of members. How many of the 50 children were boys? So to tackle this, we need to look at the number of girls, the new number of girls with the total number of members. So we need to find the total number of members now. That's 24 plus 45 plus 281 plus the new 50 children there, which is 400 members. So the current number of girls is 18% of 400 members, which is the same as taking 0.18 and multiplying by 4. 0.18 multiplied by 400 is 72 girls. So there were originally 45 girls, and now there's 72. So the additional number of girls is 72, take 45. So 27 of the 50 children were girls. So if we want to know how many were boys, we take the 50, take away the 27, and we have 23 boys. Question 17. The table shows information about the marks of 30 students in a test. Students who scored less than the mean mark have to retake the test. How many students have to retake the test? So, to find the mean of one of these kind of frequency tables, we'll first take the mark 14 and multiply that by the frequency in each case. So we'll say m times f. So 14 times 2 is 28. 15 times 10 is 150. 16 times 2 is 32. 17 times 3 is 17, 34, 51. And 18 times 30 is 234. The reason we've done this is now we have a total, which we can calculate as 495, and use this to calculate the mean. So, the mean is 495, that's the total number of marks achieved by everyone in total, over 30, the number of pupils, gives us a mean of 16.5. So pupils who scored less than this have to retake the test. That's all the pupils that scored 14, 15 or 16. So 2 plus 10 plus 2, so 14 pupils have to retake the test. Question 18. Work out the square root of 100 million. Circle your answer. 100 million is 100 with 6 zeros after it. You can take the square root of that on the calculator and find 10,000. Alternatively, this could have been a non-calculator question, and we would have to write 100 million in standard form first. So call that 1 times 10 to the 8. And then we could take the square root of that, the square root of 10 to the 8 being 10 to the 4, which is the same as 10,000. Question 19. We have two vectors, A and B, and we need to circle the vector A, take B. So, A take B is 5 minus 2, take away minus 2, 3. So, we need to do this using the x coordinates first, and then we'll do the calculation for the y coordinates. So, 5 take away negative 2, the same as adding 2, so we've got 5 plus 2, which is 7. And negative 2 take away 3 is negative 5. Answer is 7 minus 5. Question 20. Circle the decimal that is closest in value to 2/3. 2/3 as a decimal is 0.6 reoccurring, so that will be 6666 going on forever. So we need to find the one that is the best approximation for this. This is simply to one significant figure. This is to 2. This is to 3 decimal places. And this is to 2 decimal places. So this one is the highest accuracy. It has the most decimal places represented. So that's the most accurate. Question 21. When x squared equals 16, the only value that x can be is 4. Is this true or false? Tick a box. So, there are two solutions for this kind of equation. And there are two ways that we could find it. We could take x squared minus 16 equals 0 and solve that, which gives us this factorization. We see that the value of x equals 4 comes from this bracket. And we have a second solution here of x equals minus 4. Alternatively, we could substitute this into the equation, make sure it works. And we know minus 4 times minus 4 is positive 16. So, this statement is false, and the reason is that negative 4 is a possible solution. Question 22. In 1999, the minimum wage for adults was £3.60 per hour. In 2013, it was £6.31 per hour. Work out the percentage increase in the minimum wage. To find percentage increase, we first need to figure out the amount that it's changed by. So £6.31 minus £3.60 is £2.71. The percentage change, we take the change, £2.71, divide that by the original value, which gives us a fraction. Because we want a percentage, we need to multiply that fraction by 100. We calculate that, we get 75.3% increase. Question 23. Use a ruler and compasses to answer this question. Point P is the same distance from AB and AD, and it's 6 centimeters from C. Calculate something that's the same distance from two different lines. We need the bisector of the angle between those lines. To find that, we'll set our compass here with any distance, and place the point on A, make a mark there, the mark there, without changing the distance of our compass. Then we'll move our point of the compass here, and make a mark up here, and the point of the compass here, and make a mark up here. All the time, we're not changing the actual length of our compass. Next, we need to join the point A here, up through here, and continue it onwards. As such. Next, we want something that's 6 centimeters from C. For this, we'll take our compass and measure it to 6 centimeters in span, place the point of our compass on C, and draw an arc that cuts all of this area. So every point on this arc should be 6 centimeters from C. For point P, we just need the intersection of these two lines, and that's here. Point P. Question 24a. Use your calculator to work out the following. Write down your full calculator display. The only thing we need to bear in mind here is we need to obey order of operations and make sure the calculator does that. We know division and multiplication comes before addition and subtraction, so we'll put in some brackets here just to make sure the calculator does it correctly. Our full calculator display should be 375.1121656. Use approximations to check that this is sensible. We need to take the equation here, the expression here, and round each part of it to make it a simpler calculation. For example, around 19.42 to 20. We can round the cube root of 1006 to just the cube root of 1000. And we'll round 4.95 to 5. So 20 squared is 400. And the cube root of 1000 is 10. This is 400, take away 10 divided by 5, which is 2, which leaves us with 398. 398 is relatively close to 375 given our approximations, so that's fine that that's a sensible answer there. Question 25. 3 cups, A, B and C, contain only salt and water. The different mixtures are as follows. Which cup has the greatest proportion of salt? We need to show our working. So in order to compare these, we need to write them all as either a decimal, fraction, or percentage. So we'll go to writing them all as a decimal. In the first case, salt and water, we have the ratio 3 to 22 for salt and water, and the total of that ratio is 25. In this case, the proportion of salt is 3 over 25, which as a decimal is 0.12. I'll write that here. The proportion of salt for B is 1/8, which as a decimal is 0.125. And 12.75% as a decimal is just 0.1275. We're looking for the one here that's greatest, which is this one, so cup C has the greatest proportion of salt. Question 26. Y is directly proportional to X. Which graph shows this? Circle the correct letter. Direct proportion means that as X increases, Y increases, and vice versa. So for example, this one's out straight away, because this is a decrease. A direct proportion means that as one increases, the other one increases by the same amount. So in this case, we can see that there's a curve here. As X increases here, Y is increasing by a small amount, but that changes as this goes on. Direct proportion doesn't involve that. Finally, if we have something that is directly proportional to one other thing, then at 0, we expect them both to be the same. So B is out, and D is our direct proportion. Question 27. A bag contains counters that are red, blue, green, or yellow. A counter is chosen at random, and the probability that it is red is 9 over 100. Work out the probability that it is green. From this probability here, 9 over 100, we see that there are 9 red counters, and 9 is the top of this probability. That means the total number of counters is 100 at the bottom of the fraction. We can add up all of these to try and find x. So we have 9 plus 3x plus x, take 5, plus 2x equals the total 100. Let's gather up terms. So we have 9, take away 5, that's 4. 3x plus x plus 2x is 6x equals 100. Now let's take away 4 from both sides. On this side we're left with 6x. On this side 100 take 4 is 96. The next step, we'll divide by 6, so we just have x remaining on the left hand side, and 96 divided by 6 is 16. So if x is 16, we can find out the number of green counters from here. The number of green counters is 16 take 5, which is 11 green counters. And finally, to work out the probability, we take the number of green counters and divide by the total number of counters. 11 over 100. Question 28. The pressure at sea level is 101,325 pascals. Any rise over 1 kilometer above sea level decreases the pressure by 14%. For example, at 3 kilometers above sea level, the pressure is 14% less than at 2 kilometers. Work out the pressure at 4 kilometers above sea level. So each 1 kilometer, the pressure decreases by 86%. That's 100. It decreases to 86%. So that's 0.86 of the previous total. So we're going to use our formula for compound interest. This works in the same way for a depreciation. We need to take our initial value, 101,325, multiply it by this, the multiplier, which in this case is a depreciation, and take it to the power n, which would normally be something like years in compound interest, but in this case we're going to have this as kilometers. That's to the power 4. If we calculate this, we get 5,425.6, and we're given that to two significant figures, so we'll round that to 55,000. Question 29. ABC is a triangle with AB equal to AC and BA is parallel to CD. Show that the angle X is 30 degrees. First, let's see what we can calculate. We have another right angle here, so we can calculate the angle here, BCP. So, BCP is 180, take 90, take 15, which is 75 degrees. We can use our first fact here that this triangle is isosceles to find this angle. So, we can write that ABC is also 75 degrees, as it's equal to BCP. Next step, we know that we have this set of parallel lines here, and if we find this top angle, we can use the fact that these are alternate. So, let's find the angle BAC, which we can find by taking both the base angles away from 180. So take 75 equals 30 degrees. And our last step is that we know BAC is equal to ACD, or X, which is 30 degrees, as they are alternate angles.